Hello and welcome to the Texology. I am CA Priyanshu Goel and this audio episode is part of my podcast series, The Texology, which aims at imparting information on crucial concepts of the Indian taxation scenario. If you prefer to listen in Hindi, you can watch my videos on YouTube and Instagram. You can find my profile by the name CA Priyanshu Goel. As with other episodes in this series, this is going to be a very short clip to convey only relevant matters. Before we begin with today's content, I would just like to mention that if you feel like connecting with me, I'm available on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter by the name CA Priyanshu. In this clip, we are discussing as to whether the Section 50C of the Income Tax Act will apply in case of compulsory acquisition of land by the government. Before proceeding with further discussion, let's summarize the Section 50C of the Income Tax Act. Section 50C provides that if at the time of sale of land or building or both, the consideration which is received or accrues to the assessee is less than the valuation of stamp valuation authority, then amount of such valuation by stamp valuation authority shall be deemed to be the sales value for such property. So to illustrate, if the actual consideration received is 2 crores while the valuation of stamp valuation authority is rupees 3 crores, then the sales value for the purpose of calculating capital gains shall be 3 crores and not rupees 2 crores. However, it is important to note that third proviso to section 50C also provides a tolerance limit of 10%. That is, if such valuation of stamp valuation authority is not in excess of 10% of actual sales consideration, then actual sales consideration will remain the value for the purpose of calculation of capital gains. So if actual consideration is rupees 2 crores and stamp valuations authority valuation is rupees 2 crore 10 lakhs, then 2 crore will be the amount of consideration for the purpose of section 50C. This provision was introduced in year 2002 with the view to tackle the practice of understating the sales price of real estate assets, where the actual consideration used to be more than what was disclosed in the sales deed. So you need to be aware of this provision if you are selling or thinking of selling any of your properties. Now moving on further with the discussion, the issue regarding whether the section 50C of the Income Tax Act will apply in case of compulsory acquisition of land by the government under the provisions of 2013 Act was discussed in the case of Principal Commissioner of Income Tax versus Durgapur Projects Limited before Honorable Calcutta High Court. In the given case, CIT appeal and Honorable Tribunal had already ordered in the favour of assessee wherein it was held that assessing officer was not justified in invoking section 50C of the Act on the land which was compulsorily acquired by National Highway Authority of India and directed to recompute the capital gains without applying section 50C of the said Act. Further revenues appeal against the same was heard by Honorable High Court, and it is highlighted in the judgment that the transfer of the land was not on account of the agreement between parties, but it was the case of compulsory acquisition under the provisions of 2013 Act. Therefore, the transaction cannot be treated to be a transaction between two private parties, where there may be a room to suspect the correct valuation and apparent sales consideration which was reflected in the sales document, and thus the findings rendered by the Commissioner of Income Tax Appeals as affirmed by the tribunal on this issue does not call for any interference. Further, Circular number 36 of 2016 dated 25th October 2016 issued by the Central Board of Direct Taxes CBDT was also discussed, and it was concluded that compensation received in this case is exempt from tax. So make sure to consider this judgment if the case being dealt with is on the similar grounds. So that's all for this clip. I hope you'll find this useful, and if there's any related query or question about this, feel free to reach out to me on info@priyanshugoel.com.